11 insane rules people had to live by in ancient Rome. 1. They couldn't wear purple. The law kept lower classes from displaying wealth. Purple togas were reserved for the emperor. Purple dye had to be imported from Phoenicia. There they made the dye from mollusks. To dye one toga, they had to crush 10,000 mollusks. 2. Women were forbidden from crying at funerals. A Roman funeral started with a procession. Women would be paid to walk in the procession and cry. They were ripping out their hair and scratching their faces. It got so bad that they had to outlaw crying at funerals. 3. Women were publicly punished for infidelity. A man could lock his wife and her lover up. He had 20 hours to call every neighbor to see them. He then had 3 days to make a public declaration. It would describe where he found his wife. He was also legally required to divorce her. The man could murder his wife's lover if he was a slave. If it was a citizen, only the wife's father could do it. 4. People could be drowned as a punishment. The worst crime was to kill your own father. The person would be blindfolded and stripped naked. They would be beaten with rods and put in a sack. In the sack, there was a snake, a dog, an ape, and a rooster. This sack would be sewn and thrown into the sea. 5. People had to get a permit to take their own life. A depressed person could file a petition to the Senate. The Senate would send them a free bottle of poison. 6. People killed by thunderbolts couldn't be buried. Lightning strikes were considered acts of the god Jupiter. If someone got hit by lightning, it meant Jupiter hated them. Their body was considered a sacrifice for him. If you buried it, you'd be sacrificed instead. 7. Fathers could sell their sons. The son would temporarily become the buyer's possession. This deal could be made only 3 times, or the father would be considered unfit. The son would be legally emancipated from his parents. 8. Women could become property. Romans had laws on how long you had to possess something. Then it would become your property. The laws included people. Wives had to stay with their husbands for 1 year. Women could keep their freedom if they wanted. They had to leave the house for 3 days each year. 9. Men could legally kill their families. There was no limit to what a father could do to his family. If his kid misbehaved, he could kill them. Daughters still feared their fathers after marriage. Sons only earned independence when their fathers died. The right to kill family members ended in the 1st century BC. The exception was made if the son was a criminal. 10. People couldn't stay single. The law was made to boost birth rates among the elite. It imposed penalties on unmarried people of high rank. Priestesses of Vesta were bound by a vow of chastity. They technically violated the law for their refusal to marry. 11. People could be eaten by exotic animals for their crimes. This punishment was carried out in the amphitheater. It took place between the gladiatorial contests. The condemned were often defenseless. They were sometimes tied to posts. It was the punishment for the lowest members of society.